Okay, we got a couple more minutes. And then we'll begin, you guys. So just making sure we're letting a couple of visitors in that are in the waiting room. Welcome everybody to the Ocean Open Studio and Virtual Exhibition. My name is Frida Verlaje, and also with me there is Mechi. I am from Manku Art Studio and Mechi is from Mango, and we want to welcome everybody to this open studio. We're very excited for you guys to get to meet the artists, get to learn a little bit more about their topics of interest and their work that they did during the residency. Don't leave us if you can, because at the end we will be sharing the link to the live exhibition where you will actually be able to see the work that they created during the residency. But if you have to leave, no worries. We will be sharing the link to the open studio in our YouTube channel. Mechi.
All right. I would like to stop sharing screen, and with that on, I would like to say hello, hello. And let me check here. So, Dagmar, are you ready? You can start.
March 2025, 05:35, 0.54. $11:54, 1.94. 17:56, 0.61. Waning crescent. The 27th of March 2025, 00:07, 2:15, 06:39, 0:37, 13:03, 2:04, 18:55, 0:45. Waning crescent. The 29th of March 2025, 02:06, 2:37, 08:20, 0:11, 14:46, 2:18, 20:32, 0.18. New moon. 30th of March 2025, 02:54, 2:42. 0904 006 1527 2.20 2115 0.10 waxing crescent. 31st of March 2025 0337 244 0946 0.07 1603 2.19 2158 0.06. The 1st of April 2025 0418 241 1027 0.12 1637 2.18 202040 006 waxing crescent. The 2nd April 2025 0457 235 1107 0.21 1637 2.18 2240 0.06 waxing crescent. Thank you.
Thank you, Dagmar. Dagmar is a German visual artist based in Copenhagen. She focuses on dogmatic, repetitive, slow processes, often including performative aspects. Mechi.
Gracias, Dagmar. Dagmar es una artista alemana basada en Copenhague y ella se focaliza en dogmáticos repetitivos de proceso lento, incluye también performance como lo que acabamos de visualizar. Muchas gracias.
Our next artist is Connie. Connie Lee Lynch is based in Hawaii. She is a crochet designer, teacher, and mixed media fiber artist who finds endless inspiration in the colors, textures, rhythms of everyday world around her.
Hi, I'm Connie. I am a fiber artist and crochet designer, as we just said, and I'm currently living in Hawaii, and I've never really lived this close to the ocean before, so the theme for this was really inspiring for me to explore colors and textures of the ocean here where I live now. I'd like to, if I can, share a video that will show the process of making this piece. So bear with me for a moment. So I begin with sorting and prepping fiber. I blend it as I spin it. First I make singles using assorted fibers from my stash as well as colors that I've selected specifically for the project. I used a blending board for the first time for this project for sky because I wanted a more, well, blended sky. And so this is me spinning from the ROAG that I just made. And these are the singles alongside the fiber. I was lucky to take some of my spinning to the beach. This is twine, the two singles of sand. This is another one of our favorite beaches with lots of rocks. My last game had to be played at home because it kept raining. You can't really see it in the videos, but it was raining while I was flying. Oh, there's a rooster. Do you see the rooster? We have a lot of feral chickens here. And then once it's plied, I wind it off onto a knitting knotting, and then it's ready for a bath. Each tank gets washed, the water run out. And this is my favorite part, it's called wuzzing. It's fun. And then I finish with a couple snaps. And they really make beautiful hangs. Handspun is an art form in and of itself. Once it's dry, I wind it into a cake. This is a pretty little cake, ready for crocheting. And I crocheted both inside and outside, a little bit of it at the beach, but not as much as I would have liked. And then it was time to mount them. 576 nails I hammered into those 3 panels of wood. And then I took them to the beach. Where they were connected all together, the sand and sky. Okay, I'm back. So that was the making of this piece behind me, and that was the big, pretty, awe-inspiring piece that I really wanted to make for this. But I also wanted to share a companion piece that I made with some of my leftover yarn. This was made with some of the little macroplastics, the marine debris that I picked up during my visits to the beach. During this project, I have lots of beach trash, actually. And so this one is maybe not as pretty as the other one is, but it was good to make this one too, because it was a reminder that if we want our oceans to stay beautiful for future generations, for our families, for my son's family, then we need to work to pick up, clean up the beaches, and preserve them for those future generations, because I mean, there's a lot of glass in here. How much broken glass does it take before we're no longer comfortable letting our children live barefoot on the beach? And that would make me really sad, because these moments, that's what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Connie.
Thank you, Connie, very much. Muchas gracias, Connie. Connie es una artista que está en Hawái. Ella es diseñadora de crochet, docente, trabaja mix media con fibras y encuentra inspiración en colores, texturas y ritmos de su mundo cotidiano. Muchas gracias.
Our next artist is Sophie. Sophie Constable is based in Australia. She works in textile and digital art, stitching and weaving together diverse materiality to bring human historical narratives and the natural world together in vivid colors, organic lines, and interwoven textures.
Thank you, Frida and Mechi. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my studio. It's kind of cool from my perspective because in this series, I've worked in digital quilting and digital illustration, and you guys are all literally in my laptop. So you are, in fact, in my studio from my perspective. Yeah, so I have a science and a humanities background. I'm a researcher in both. And I use art as a method to explore different topics, but also to communicate my research and communicate my findings. So in this particular series, I was interested in people and their relationship with the ocean in all sorts of different ways. And because I relate to the ocean mainly through the marine organisms that are there as a biologist, I was interested in how other people connected in that same way. So I was thinking about concepts of self-image and reflection, and it came to mind the story from the ancient Greeks of Narcissus. So in this ancient Greek myth, Narcissus fell in love with his own reflection, and that led to his own death, as well as the death of the people around him because he wasn't able to connect with them. And that made me think of how humans as a species are sometimes blind or numb to the other species around us and are unable to see our connections with them. So that can lead to tragedy for the species around us, but also ultimately for our species as well. So I was interested in asking 5 other artists, some of which are part of the exhibition today, about their connection with the ocean, and asking them, what do they see when they're looking at the sea? Are they seeing themselves, or are they seeing more than that? Are they seeing other marine organisms as well? So I'm going to hopefully share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about and take you through my process. Okay. Great, so you can see that one there. So you can see I'm working with this recurring motif of a human face, a water element, and then the particular marine organisms that they are connecting with. And if you can see behind me, I'm working with fabric. So I've draped a whole bunch of kimono fabric around my studio, so you can see what I'm working with. So I particularly like kimono fabric because of the colors in the silk and the enormous variety of textures that you find with these guys. And so that way I can choose different colors and textures to better match the person and the portrait that I'm trying to create. So for example, in that first one there with Dr. Eddie Ken, she's a seaweed ecologist. And so I replicated her practice of going out onto the beach and finding seaweeds and then drying them so till they're really flat and translucent. And then in my practice, I take photos of them and deconstruct them into their different layers and then replace each of those layers with fabric. So I'll just bring that up there. So here's a process pic showing on the right, halfway through building up the layers of the seaweed in Addie's portrait with different parts of fabric. So that's probably got about 7 layers. Each color is a different layer, and I'll probably end up with 100 layers per portrait. And then go through maybe 50 different drafts trying to get the effects that I'm looking for by combining them in different ways. So if you go close up, you can see the textures of those fabrics as I combine them in different ways. So the one on the left there, that's from Connie's portrait. You can see Connie's finished portrait here next to Artistas, who we'll be talking a little bit later. And you can see Connie as a crochet designer, I wanted to bring in the texture of crochet into her portrait. Compared with Apitha, who is a watercolor artist, I wanted to reflect more of the light and the smoothness of her work through the fabrics that I was choosing. And both of these people actually, in their responses to my questions, had this dual relationship with the ocean that incorporated both sort of fear or anxiety, as well as a sense of calm and wonder through the marine creatures. In Connie's case, sea turtles in Hawaii, and in Artistas' case, anemone fish in Thailand. And actually, through all the different stories that I heard from different people, everyone had a very different way of connecting with the ocean. So I found that really fascinating. And I hope that as you explore the exhibition, you will be able to discover some of these stories and also think about your own connection with the ocean, how that happens for you. And I would love to hear back from you about how you connect to the ocean as well. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the exhibition.
Thank you, Sophie. Nikki?
Thank you, Sophie. This is a good reminder to all of you. If you please check the link we pin in the chat with the form so that you can give feedback to the artist, that will be fantastic and very helpful for them and for us. Gracias, Sophie. Este es un recordatorio para comentarles que en el chat hay un link a un formulario fijado, entonces pueden acceder ahí y darle una devolución al artista que ustedes consideren. Es muy valioso para nosotros y para los artistas también. Voy a hablar sobre Sophie brevemente. Sophie, bueno, es una artista australiana, trabaja en arte textil y digital, bueno, y visualiza y individualiza el material para traer historias humanas, narrativas, en el mundo natural junto a los colores vívidos. Que, bueno, en este caso ella acaba de explicar que los encontró mucho en las telas con las cuales trabaja. También trabaja con materiales orgánicos y texturas, y todo esto lo digitaliza y lo transforma a lo que acabamos de ver. Muchas gracias, Sophie.
Our next artist is Apita Tanin, based in Thailand. She is a watercolor artist who captures magic in everyday life. Her work invites people to see the world around them in a new light, finding beauty in the ordinary. Apita.
Okay, hello everyone. Let me share my screen quickly. Okay, so hello guys. My name is Apita. My nickname is Plateau, and I'm from Thailand. And this project, I call it We Met in Koh Tao. Okay, so normally I would do a lot of work on land. I love nature, but this project is the time where I explore new territory of Koh Tao. So this is where Koh Tao is in the map, and it's an island in Thailand which has beautiful coral reefs. But I feel like I never visited this place before, and I really want to capture. Sorry, it's kind of in the loop right now. Capture the magic in the ocean from this being really specific, and find the special in the real moment, real people, and the real creature that they found. And this is one of my interviewees. So I went on a journey to Koh Tao. So I don't really travel alone. So a lot of things I do in this project is very new to me. And after I interview a lot of people, I feel like, these stories are beautiful, but how can I empathize with them if I never dived before? So I take on a journey of going diving just for this project, and it was absolutely beautiful. So here are 6 people I interviewed. These are really cool divers and conservationists, and I will go through each of them quickly, and you can find more stories on the website and Instagram. So first person is Chad Scott. He's a conservationist who lay a lot of foundation on conservation diving in Thailand. And this is Eye of a Whale Shark, where one of the dives, he went and he got to spend a lot of time with the whale shark, and he got to kind of have this eye contact with whale shark. And he described the eyes as contemplative, where you can feel the soul of this creature. And they live up to like 80 or 100 years. So you can only wonder what have these eyes seen. And I think it's a magical and wonderful story. And I try to make it, because the eyes of the whale shark is the size of a golf ball. So I try to actually replicate it in this size. And next person is Matt Bolton. This is called Monsoon Encounter, where he also encountered a whale shark, but very different. During the monsoon, water can be very murky, and normally you can see whale shark from far away because it's huge. But then, because the murky water, he encountered it very close to him, and the first thing he spotted is the spot on the whale shark. And I love this piece because it plays with soft and hard edge of watercolor as well, and it kind of reflects in his experience. So he's Matt is also very he's really into conservation as well, and he recommended me to more people in black turtle dive. The next person is Boa. She's loved blackwater diving, and this is coral spawning. And coral spawning happens once a year, and when you go to see them, you only see them in the dark and use the flashlight. And it's called flying together because when you go diving at night, it feels like you're flying. So it's like a time where coral can fly, and she feels like she's flying as well. So it's called flying together. Next one is from Macy, and this is called the impact of small vibration. So she described being in this school of Fusilia, and she feels like she's so small, but she has a large impact because they can feel your vibration, and you can see your impact. So even though you're small, you have a lot of impact on them, and you can feel trapped in this tunnel of fish, but you actually feel so free at the same time. And that is what I feel when I went diving. It's feel like you're trapped underwater, but then you are super free at the same time. So I'm running out of time. So this is called Tiny Treasure. These are nudibranchs, and these tiny little thing is very hard to spot because they're very small. And these are like 5 centimeters, considered big because they're normally in the size of like 5 millimeters. So I want to replicate how you actually see them. So you have to look through them, through the picture to see them. Okay, and so this one, the last one, is from Pipuka, and I Hope You Will is a special piece, not about only the moment, but it's about when you get out of the water and you think about the coral, because the interviewee is conservationist, so she plant corals and watch them grow. Even though she's out of the water, she also contemplates about them a lot. So here are all the 6 images, and I hope after this you can feel the sparks, like little coral fragments that grow into this beautiful colonies. And this is hopefully the same way that your relationship with the ocean grows as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Avita. Mechi? You're on mute.
You're muted.
Sorry, okay, here I go again. Bueno, thank you, Apita. Apita es una artista tailandesa, es artista de acuarelas, que captura el cotidiano de una manera mágica. Su trabajo invita a las personas a ver el mundo alrededor de ella con una luz especial nueva, encontrando belleza y cotidianeidad. Muchas gracias.
Our next artist is Andrea Benson. She is a painter, educator, and meditation guide inspired by the transformative power of the human spirit, and she lives in the United States.
So I think I just go and share your video. Is that correct? Fantastic. I will do that. Voy a compartir su video directamente. Un momento, por favor.
In the meantime, this is a good reminder for our audience that there is a pinned form where you can give our artists your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings on their pieces.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Benson. I'm a painter, educator, and meditation guide based in Houston, Texas. I want to start by thanking every single one of you for joining us, no matter what part of the world you're in. Thank you for coming to see our live presentations. I'm actually recording a video because right now I'm teaching my class. I'm a high school art teacher, so I can't talk to you guys one-on-one because there's so much chaos. Speaking of chaos, I want to actually do something a little different before I dive into my project and take a moment to breathe together as a group, as a collective in this time, in this space. So on the count of 3, I want you to push out all the air in your body so that you can reset for some new oxygen. If you're not at home and you're not in a safe space to close your eyes, it's fine. You can just stare at me, but I want to breathe together, okay? So again, pushing out all the air in your body on 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhaling everything that you have, pushing it all out. And now I want you to take a deep breath in, filling up your body like a balloon. Hold that in for 1, 2, 3, and release. Exhale. Again, pushing out everything that you have, everything that you're holding on to. And take another deep breath in, expanding your body in all directions. Hold that in for 1, 2, 3, and release. Exhale. Let's take one more deep breath together. Exhale when you're ready. Thank you for doing that with me. So now we're going to dive into my project called the Luciferin Effect. And while I talk, I'm actually going to play a time lapse of me completing my painting so you can see it step by step. So my project is inspired by bioluminescent life forms that live in the deep sea, where the sunlight does not reach, and so they have to generate their own light. I named my project the Luciferin Effect because luciferin is a molecule that is an important part of creating the chemical reaction that results in bioluminescence. So this is me creating what is representing the light of a creature. It was my first time doing dot art, which you see I'm going piece by piece, but it was actually enjoyable. And then I'm using paper collage, which I normally use in all of my work. So one big thing that I noticed when I was doing my research is that when you see videos of bioluminescent creatures underwater, you don't actually see the actual animal. You only see the light. And so instead of trying to capture an anglerfish or a vampire squid, I decided to create my own creatures. And it allowed me to go with the flow a lot better. And another big thing that I wanted to capture is just the scale comparison. There's a concept called deep sea gigantism, which says that a lot of deep sea animals are way, way bigger than normal. So that's why my blue life form is so much bigger than the mountain and the moons that are present. Right now, you see me doing like some water in a portal. All of the paper that I use for my paper collages come from nature books. So I'm taking pictures of actual oceans, beaches, mountain ranges, nature, all of the above. And wow, speaking of above, you can actually see the above view. I thought I recorded a lot more of me getting that white, and it turns out my camera was never on. But I recently did a big painting that was about being the light in the darkness and going into those deep spaces to save yourself. And so that was the first piece of the series that I'm working on right now, where I wanted to explore the symbolism, or the connection between, the ocean, humans, the symbolism that different animals represent, our subconscious, our spiritual journeys, just all of the different themes that are tied together between life in the ocean, life as a human, because I do believe that humans are a microcosm of the earth and everything that it involves. And so I feel like this residency is helping me to continue my direction towards studying underwater life, bioluminescence, and just being a light in the darkness. And side note, me adding this yellow, I was so scared to do this whole painting. Took on another process of its own, but that's the nature of chaos and that's the nature of life. But that is my project, The Luciferin Effect. I still have more time lapse, and so for the remainder, I actually want to just play some ocean sounds so that we can get into the vibe of what we're all here for, the beautiful ocean.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I will say some things in Spanish for her. Y bueno, Andrea Benson es una pintora, educadora y guía de meditación, inspirada por el poder del espíritu humano transformativo, y vive en Estados Unidos. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Our next artist is J.W. Lin. She is a creative, reuse, and emerging visionary artist currently creating in Dallas, Texas. Her focus is creating new upcycled art using 90% or more prefabricated materials considered to be discarded, non-functional, and or beyond repair, revitalizing them with the art.
Hello, everybody. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen here. Give me 1 second to do the technical stuff here. All right. Okay. Hopefully it will you can see that full screen. Could somebody verbally share that? Because I can't actually see the screen. Are we good?
In full screen, just the slide.
Say again, I'm sorry.
It's not full screen, but we see the slide in the center and then the slides to the side.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, we'll just do this then. No problem. That's weird. Okay. So let's just continue on and use it as is. So like Frida said, my name's JW, and I am a creative reuse artist. One of the things that I love about being a creative reuse artist is that it opens up a whole wide world and you can use almost anything. And I do mostly mixed media and 3D art. So creative reuse is a new word for you. It is a lot like upcycling. And if that's a new word for you, there are varying degrees of definition. But for me as an artist, I consider it a methodology, as Frida mentioned, that where I use discarded materials or materials that might be considered broken or non-functional, usually found on the side of the road or, in somebody's trash can. Or I have a lot of friends that say, hey, can you use this? And they just give it to me if I choose to take it. And then you take those items and you use them in a new or different way. So it's a little bit different than recycling because there's not a process of augmentation. It is a transformative process, but there's not like a chemical reaction or any kind of change of augmentation of the item itself that uses a resource to be able to do that. It's really just reusing that item. So why, for me as an artist, do I like to do this? And on this slide, you can see some of the actual pieces. In fact, just to clarify all of the, let me back up a slide. This is a detail image of the final work. So giving you a little teaser of what the final work might look like if you want to take a view of the exhibition after our open studio today. So these are some of the items that were utilized. And overall, whether it's this project or all my projects, I do creative reuse art for three main reasons. I have a deep relationship with our Earth and our planet, and I love how lovely it protects us, as well as it gives us such beautiful moments to experience. And so I want to protect that beauty as well as the health and wellness of it, whether it is the planet overall, or in the case of this residency, gaining some awareness around our marine environments. So I have three main reasons. I like to use creative reuse art as a way to change our mindset about how we view our trash. So we just don't, a lot of us, which I do it too, we throw it in a bin. The bin goes out to the outside bin. That big bin goes to the side of the road, and then some lovely city people come and they take that and they remove it, and we never think about it again, but it's still there. So deepening that relationship of that process, as well as reconsidering our consumerism. Now, obviously, there's an economic aspect to this, but just look at technology. The minute you buy technology, we're talking about the next piece you should get. And all of a sudden, what do we do with that technology when it becomes old or out of use? And so trying to reconsider, instead of when something breaks, maybe we fix it instead of getting the next best thing. And then the last thing, which is the most important in my mind, we lessen our impact on the environment because of this ignorance and because of this lack of recognition of what we're doing, just a throw it out and forget it kind of mentality. We change that. And hopefully we find uses for these items so that they aren't just discarded, and we can continue their life cycle in ways that lessen the impact of the environment. So like mentioned, I aim for 90% or more recycled prefab or other used materials, and it could be really anything. A lot of the time I have a very fluffy big dog, and he likes to be walked a lot. And so I pick up a lot of things on my walks, whether it's for art or just because I care about my neighborhood. And so it could be anything really. So moving on to the residency program, I started doing some research in NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for here, us in the States. This is from their website. Each year, billions of pounds of trash and other pollutants enter the ocean. And I've gone through searching through internet searches and other reference material that there are three common types. It is mostly bottles of some sort, wrappers of some sort, like food wrappers, candy wrappers, so on and so forth, and then cigarette butts. So those are the three most common. So pulling this all together into the artwork that I created for the residency, which I've titled Debris in the Drink being the ocean as a kind of slang term for the ocean back in the early days, I guess, of sailing around the planet. So the alignment here is that most marine debris comes from littering and poor waste disposal practices here on land, but it can also come from being out in the ocean and things get swept away off the deck or so on and so forth, and it leads to the ocean. So there's a nice kind of correlation between me picking up, or us, if I have somehow inspired you in some way when you're out walking, to pick up litter and dispose of it properly so it doesn't get swept away into the ocean and become marine debris. So how it began, this is actually the real picture. I looked earlier today. It was on March 13th of last year. I walked outside and my neighbor had a 3-foot by 3-foot canvas that was just like how you see it, that they were putting to the curb. And I love canvas out on the street. I love finding it. And I pulled it tipped it over and saw that part of it had been pulled out of the frame, and it just naturally made a wave. And I knew a year ago that I was going to make some sort of ocean awareness art from this. And so what I started doing was picking up items specifically for this artwork, and go figure, I found a ton of plastic bottles, food wrappers, and cigarette butts. So this is a detail of what is now very lovingly called the sea creature. You can again see this in the online exhibition that's going to go live here in a minute. And the artwork as a whole ended up being a 3 foot by 3 foot piece, horizontal by, width by depth. And then it is 3D, so it does come off the frame about 15 inches. And then it's mostly canvas on the left-hand side, which is that wave and seashore with sand that I textured into the paint, which is acrylic. And then the sea creature is made entirely of waste materials and then the bonding agents. So to sum up, I used 91 items that were found, 2 natural elements, which is sand and seashells that were taken in their own way, foraged in their own way. And then 3 what I call consumables, which is the glue, the wire, and the other bonding agents to be able to have the structure be as solid as it could be. So ultimately hitting that goal of 90% or more, if you're a figures person, I hit it at 95%. And so I'm really excited as an artist to be able to bring this to you. I'm hoping that when people look at it, they see that relationship that they have with the ocean and the planet, and they really do think about and become more aware about how they can just do something helpful for the planet, even in your own neighborhood. That's where it begins. By just picking up one little piece of trash, you're actually helping the ocean be more healthy and more well, which brings more beauty to everyone to experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer. So, J.W. Lin es una artista creativa que reutiliza, bueno, y es visionaria sobre este tema y trabaja su arte en función al reciclado. Trabaja proyectos nuevos con el 90% de sus materiales reciclados o materiales prefabricados considerados como descarte, no funcionales o que no se pueden reparar, revitalizando estos materiales con su arte. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Our next artist is Elena Lipkowski, based in the US. She is a mixed media artist who blends digital collage with hand embroidery and textile techniques.
So hi, Elena. Should I just go, you can write down in the chat, should I go directly with your video? I guess so. Okay, there I go. Voy a compartir el video de Elena en este momento. Espero que lo vean. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Elena Lipkowski, and I'm so pleased to be here today. I was born and grew up in coastal Southern California and have lived my adult life in the beautiful Central Texas Hill Country in Austin. I am a mixed media artist who primarily combines digital collage with hand embroidery. I explore themes of memory, transformation, resilience, and our emotional connection to the natural world. My creative practice is meditative, refining pixels, stitches, and beads, always moving with the mouse left, mouse right, needle in, needle out, all to the rhythm of my breath and motion. For as long as I can remember, the ocean has been a source of solace and inspiration in my life. Growing up near the beach, my little brother and I regularly clambered down the cliff sides to explore the sea life at low tide. It was fascinating to see entire worlds contained in those rocky, shallow basins. Then as a teenager, I spent endless hours drifting in the waves of the Pacific Ocean with my feet grazing at the kelp beds below me. My grandparents ran a fishing barge, and the feel of the briny wind against my face stays with me still. Now I'm around a 4-hour drive to the nearest coastline. Galveston, Texas now holds a special place in my heart. Without the dramatic drop-off near the shoreline, the Gulf waters are so different from the drama of the Pacific. Yet I've grown to dearly love those gently lapping waves, the sway of coastal grasslands, the migrations of birds, those sweet, sultry, salty breezes. I find myself ever drawn back to the water. I've built a deep connection to it, its rhythms, its changing nature, and its power to heal. This connection fuels my creative work and deepens my commitment to ocean conservation. During our ocean residency, I wanted to challenge myself, to try new things, to keep my heart and mind open to the rich creative environment I encountered each time that we all came together in our weekly online artists meetings. I was blown away by the vibrancy and generosity of the group as we listened to each other and shared our thoughts. I created for this project a single artwork entitled Immersive: Becoming Ocean. It is a vast leap for me in terms of scale. Previously, my largest work across a single canvas was 36 by 36 inches, or about 1 meter squared. For this project, I found out what the largest capacity was at my fine arts printer and designed a canvas to maximize it. Immersive is 60 inches wide by 80 inches tall, or about 1.5 meters by 2 meters. This piece is a perspective from the ocean floor, looking up at the light beaming down on the water above. I wanted to capture that feeling of being completely surrounded by the vastness of the ocean and the sense of being immersed in this magical, ever-changing world. Along the sandy bottom, I've stitched a large embroidered Colcita Noveguinii, more commonly known as a cushioned star, which symbolizes transformation, resilience, and the quiet beauty of ocean life. My process involves creating a digital collage that begins with photos I took at the ocean and in the ocean, images I captured during my many visits to the water, my moments of reflection. I refine my photos to capture the essential essence, removing all that feels extraneous. And what is left, I digitally cut and paste, emphasizing some elements while de-emphasizing other parts. I swirl pixels into marbled whorls, touching each one with presence and care. I layer one element over another until I find balance. And then once printed on the canvas, I hand embroider onto the composition, adding a tactile, meditative quality to the work. This act of stitch, slow and thoughtful, mirrors the patience and care required for both personal healing and environmental preservation. When you visit the virtual exhibit, you'll encounter Immersive: Becoming Ocean. Standing on the ocean floor, you're looking up into the water surrounded by light. The light streaming through the water represents both the mystery and wonder of the ocean's depths, while the starfish stands as a symbol of resilience and transformation, like the ocean itself, constantly evolving, yet full of strength and beauty. This piece speaks to that intimate relationship we have with water, how it connects us emotionally and spiritually while reminding us of the responsibility we carry to protect it. Working on Immersive has been a deeply personal and reflective experience. As much as this work is about the ocean, it is also about our relationship to it, how the ocean nurtures and transforms us, and how we in turn must protect it. Through the virtual residency, I have had an opportunity to connect these themes of personal reflection and environmental stewardship. My hope is that this artwork will encourage you to reflect on your own relationship with the water that sustains all life and inspire you to take action into preserving it for future generations. And with this, I thank you so much for your time and hope you'll enjoy the exhibit.
Thank you very much, Elena. Muchas gracias, Elena. Bueno, Elena Lipkowski es una artista que vive en Estados Unidos, es artista de mix media, que fusiona collage digital con bordado y técnicas textiles, bueno, realizadas de manera artesanal. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Our next artist is Chris Wilmot. He is a UK emergent artist and researcher. He combines painting, original writing, and wooden book to foreground themes of the human condition underwater.
So, hello, Chris. Are you there? Should I share screen directly? I guess so. Okay, I will do that. One second, voy a compartir pantalla con el material de Chris. Un momentito, por favor. Ok. Comparto. Well, I'm not sure. I guess there's no audio because the audio is on and it's not there. So I guess we should read it. I will go back and read it pretty fast. 1 second. Okay. Life in a womb does not speak. That's why the silent of the video, I believe. Life does not speak English or Spanish. So this is a silent presentation, so I will stop speaking. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for sharing on the chat your comments. Nanoplastics are invisible, so I am invisible. And thank you for that. So I will say it in Spanish. Bueno, Chris Wilmot es un artista emergente del Reino Unido y también es investigador. Y combina pinturas, escritos originales y libros realizados en madera como soporte, bueno, para traernos al presente las condiciones del ser humano y también bajo el agua. Muchas gracias, Chris.
Okay, our final artist, Rose Heflin Orris, originally from rural southern Kentucky, has spent her first part of her childhood running wild and free, barefoot in the countryside, which resulted in a love of nature.
Hello, and thank you for being here. So I decided that I was really going to challenge myself for this project. And in order to do so, I decided I was going to do something very different. As an artist, I also have a science background, primarily in ecology and agroecology. And can you see my my screen? Can someone give me a yay or a nay?
Not for now.
Okay. Let's see here. It says it's loading. Now? Can you see it now?
No.
Okay. Let me try again. So that it should be. So I decided that I am primarily a mixed media paper maker and artist and printmaker. And I decided that I was going to paint. And oh, did I paint? I am very much a materials-based artist. So normally I base my art around objects that I find, much like Jennifer. But mine can be anything from organic to inorganic. I mean, anything I find, really. So for this, I decided that I was going to paint, and I was going to attempt to capture the crashing nature of the ocean wave and its undulations, and in an effort to go beyond the science and look at the emotion of how we relate to the ocean and how it reflects us. Yes.
We can see your presentation now.
Thank you. And so I was thinking that I wanted to do painting because it would be different and challenging. And I had these broken seashells that I wanted to use. So I did 55 canvases ranging in size from 2 inches by 2 inches to 12 inches by 36 inches to 24 by 18 inches. So tiny to larger. And instead of using brushes, I decided to paint with the broken seashells in order to kind of channel the waves and the broken nature of waves and how they crash and come apart, but also to kind of remind myself throughout the project about how we are breaking the ocean and the damage that we are doing. So here are a few process photos here. And here's some video coming up, theoretically. So I painted 55 canvases and I hung them. It was hard to find this place to hang them all in a straight line as I had originally intended. So I opted instead to simply I rented a storage locker, and then I used the inside of the storage locker building, which turned out to be really interesting because it had these metal ridges, and I really liked that because it reminded me of ocean waves, and it reminded me of the way in which seashells are ridged as well as sand dunes. So it kind of like, so the end presentation, the final presentation also kind of brought that back together for me, I think, by being forced to do it in a different location than originally how I had hoped. So here's just a few process videos of close-ups of me painting away with my seashells instead of my brushes. And here's a this is a quick overview, a time-lapse photo of the final project hung up. The final one in a moment at the exhibition. But I also am a poet and writer, so I, of course, had to write some poetry to accompany things. And since I was looking kind of at the more emotive aspect of our relationship with the ocean, I chose to use a combination of free verse and formal poems because they, for me, formal poems for me are a gateway into free verse, and they allow me to tap into a deeper creativity. Just as the ocean seems to have constraints in some regards, like the shoreline, it's also endless. So it made sense to me to start with my usual process of formal poems. And so the poetic forms I utilized were haiku, seijo, eteri, and free verse. So free verse, obviously free flowing like the water and the waves. But haiku, you're probably familiar with. It has 3 lines with a syllable count of 5, 7, and 5 per line. And it is interesting. I chose it because I like the broken nature of it and the abruptness of it. It reminded me of some waves that you see crashing on the and verse traditionally written in 3 lines, each having between 14 and 16 syllables per line. So it's longer and it's more expansive. And it made me think more about those really big, huge waves that you see, like surfers surfing on. And the eteri is a form that has 10 lines, and it starts with 1 syllable in the first line, 2 syllables in the second, and so on until you get to your final line, your 10th line, which has 10 syllables. And so I like the way it builds like an ocean wave. So that's the reason I chose these forms. And as you will see, I didn't have space to show them all. I wrote several, but there is video of me reading 8 of them. So you can read them or listen to them rather at the exhibition, along with viewing all of the canvases together as I think they were meant to be shown. So not how I had originally intended, but how I think they were meant to be. So, and one more reflection on this residency, I really like the opportunity to really immerse myself in just how meditative the process of this abstract painting was for me, and just making it really textured and everything. But also upon reflection, I realized that art and creativity in general is just so much like the ocean, in that it is really boundless, and that you never know where it's going to take you, or where it's going to start, or where it's going to end, really. So that was a nice realization for me, because I've always loved the ocean, but have not spent much time around it. But now I think that every time I do an art project, I'm going to feel a little bit closer to the ocean than I would were I just, walking down the street or something. So I'm very appreciative of that. And my ultimate goal of my art is to make people think about, how they connect with the ocean, and how they may or may not have feelings about certain aspects, such as how we are affecting the ocean, which I think we're becoming too inured to our effects on it. And so some of my poetry in particular addresses that, as well as the sub-theme of climate change, which hopefully you'll have a chance to peruse. But that's about it. Thank you all very much. It was a great residency, and I feel like I grew a lot as an artist as a result. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you very much. Bueno, ahora voy a decir unas palabras sobre el trabajo de Rose. Rose es una artista originaria del sector sureste rural de Kentucky. Pasó la mayor parte de su infancia corriendo salvaje y libre, inclusive hasta, bueno, con los pies desnudos, en el campo, que tuvo como resultado el amor por lo natural y la naturaleza. Y aquí, bueno, su obra que nos compartió. Muchas gracias, Rose. Thank you very much, Rose.
Hey guys, before we continue winding down and giving closing statements, we will allow 5 minutes for questions for the artists. Also remember that you have that Google form pinned in the chat to be able to tell the artist how your thoughts and feelings or concepts, questions that you may have on their work. If anybody has any questions in the chat or wants to speak up, this is the time.
Lo digo en español, si alguien tiene una pregunta, este es el momento, si quiere realizar una pregunta al artista, bueno, lo compartimos. Pueden escribirlo en el chat o simplemente abrir el micrófono y para hablar. Well, meanwhile, someone might write something in the chat. I don't know if this is a kind of surprise thing, but I would like to just mention that in this program, we also have a connection and we share a moment with the scientific community. And here we have to our collaborator, Jessica Gwynn. She's here in this meeting, and we want to thank her for her, in a way, of being part of this process. Entonces, quiero mencionar algo un poquito inesperado, que es comentarles que este programa también tiene un vínculo con la comunidad científica en general, que hemos realizado una colaboración, y en este caso Jessica Gwynn, que es una científica que colaboró con nosotros, está aquí presente y queríamos agradecerle. Muchas gracias.
As we know, a lot of arts and artists talked about a lot of topics, so it's normal to feel like you need a little bit of time to think and process. So please feel free to use the form, or if you get a question before we leave, drop it on the chat. But in the meantime, I would like to say that the Ocean Virtual Art Residency is a multidisciplinary program created in collaboration between Moku Art Studio and Mango, bringing together artists from around the world to explore our relationship with the ocean through the creative practice. Over several weeks, participants engage in dialogue, research, and reflection on urgent marine issues, from climate change to conservation. We were honored to have Jessica Gwynn as our speaker, and our artist took inspiration from her talk. This open studio offers a window into the process, showcasing works that honor the ocean's beauty, while echoing the goals of the UN Ocean Decade to protect and restore our blue planet.
Okay, I will say it in Spanish. Entonces, si alguien tiene una pregunta, lo puede luego enviarnos por correo y se lo hacemos llegar a los artistas, o a través del link que está fijado en el chat, donde pueden completar el formulario y dirigirse directamente a los artistas. Entonces, queremos contarles que la Residencia de Arte Virtual Océano es un programa multidisciplinario creado en colaboración entre Moku Art Studio y Mango Residencia para Artistas, que reúne a artistas de todo el mundo para explorar nuestra relación con el océano a través de la práctica creativa, Durante varias semanas, los participantes dialogan, investigan y reflexionan sobre temas marinos urgentes, desde el cambio climático hasta la conservación. Jessica Wynn fue la ponente de nuestros artistas de la comunidad científica, como hace un ratito mencioné, y se inspiraron en su charla. Este estudio abierto, de Open Studio, ofrece una ventana a su proceso, presentando obras que ahondan la belleza del océano y al mismo tiempo se hacen eco de los objetivos del Decenio del Océano de las Naciones Unidas para proteger y restaurar nuestro planeta azul. Y asimismo, sobre esto último, quisiéramos también destacar que este programa ha sido reconocido e incorporado por las Naciones Unidas como uno de los programas y actividades oficiales del Decenio del Océano. Muchas gracias.
We are also deeply grateful to the artists of the Ocean Virtual Art Residency for sharing their passion, insight, and powerful creativity with us. Your work brings the ocean's beauty and its fragility into sharp focus, so we thank you. To everyone joining us, may this exhibition spark awe, a sense of ownership, and a shared responsibility as we face growing threats like microplastics, overfishing, and deep sea mining. And let us remember that protecting the ocean is protecting life itself. In the spirit of the UN Ocean Decade, let art inspire us to stay informed, get involved, and become voices for ocean conservation.
Agradecemos profundamente a los artistas de la Residencia Océano por compartir su pasión, perspectiva y poderosa creatividad. Su trabajo pone en relieve la belleza y la fragilidad del océano. A todos los que nos acompañan, que esta exposición inspire asombro, sentido de pertenencia y responsabilidad compartida. Ante las crecientes amenazas que enfrentamos como los microplásticos, la sobrepesca y la minería de aguas profundas, recordamos que proteger el océano es proteger la vida misma. En el espíritu del Decenio del Océano de las Naciones Unidas, que el arte nos inspire a mantenernos informados, participar y ser voces en defensa de la conservación de los océanos. Gracias.
And now for the part that everybody has been kindly waiting for. We invite you to visit the live virtual exhibition to experience the final works created by all these wonderful artists, each a unique reflection on our connection to the ocean and a call to protect its future. As part of this experience, you'll also find a link to the feedback form that we mentioned in the chat in the exhibition, where you can share your thoughts, reflections, and responses directly with the artists as well. Your voice matters, and we welcome your engagement in this ongoing dialogue about art and our ocean. I will be dropping the link in the chat, and we really hope you enjoy this exhibition.
Bueno, entonces, finalmente, los invitamos, perdón, si estamos bien, finalmente los invitamos a visitar la exposición virtual en vivo y disfrutar de las obras finales creadas por los artistas. Cada una es una reflexión única sobre nuestra conexión con el océano y un llamado a proteger su futuro. Como parte de esta experiencia, también encontrarán un enlace a un formulario de comentarios donde podrán compartir sus ideas, reflexiones y respetuosas directamente a los artistas. Bueno, entonces Frida va a compartir un link y muchas gracias nuevamente por la participación y apoyo de todos. Thank you. Finalmente vamos a compartir todo este material a través del email para que lo tengan presente. Bueno, y en caso de que pierdan el documento que está aquí en el chat, lo vamos a enviar por mail a los que se registraron. Frida.
Thank you so much for everybody that joined us. You will receive a link to everything that was said if you joined us for our open studio. We want to thank our wonderful artists. Good job, you guys. So proud of everybody today.
Yeah, thank you so much. We are so proud of you. We are amazed by your projects. Each of yours is I don't know, it's amazing. And we thank you for your trust and for your time and for being here with us. Gracias a todos por estar aquí y estaba agradeciendo a los artistas por sus proyectos, su compromiso y todo lo que realizaron nos dejó realmente sorprendidos. Muchas gracias. Los dejamos entonces para que puedan retirarse del Open Studio, where you can now be free from this Open Studio, but not the artists. We stay here to just, have our little chat. Thank you very much for sharing and being here.